From Maid to Billionaire's Bride, the shocking love story you never knew existed. Lila Hart had been scrubbing floors for as long as she could remember, her dreams scrubbing away alongside the dirt. Every day, she worked herself to the bone in the grand mansion of billionaire magnate, Jasper Sterling. But little did she know, the spark of fate was just a heartbeat away. One fateful night, under the shimmering glow of the moon, an unexpected encounter would turn her world upside down. A chance meeting with Jasper in the candlelit kitchen would ignite a secret more thrilling than any fairy tale, a wild love story ready to unfold against the backdrop of opulence and despair. Her heart raced at the sight of him. Tall, brooding, and impossibly charming, Jasper captured the air around him. Lila felt her hands tremble as she placed the broom aside. The moment felt surreal. He was the kind of man who turned heads and dropped jaws, yet here he was, in the ordinary bustle of their shared space, the kitchen. The scent of freshly baked cookies mingled with anticipation, almost as if the universe conspired for this spark to light. "Do you ever dream of escaping?" Jasper's voice broke the tension, rich and smooth like velvet. Lila almost laughed. Didn't everyone dream of escape? But her world had been glued to this mansion, trapped in a cycle of chores and silent observations. She opened her mouth, ready to spill her longings, but the moment shattered when, from the corner of her eye, she spotted the mansion's delicate chandelier swaying ominously, as if its glassy arms were giving a warning. Suddenly, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air crackled like it did right before a storm. She caught Jasper's gaze flicker past her, sensing danger lurking just outside their bubble. What was happening? Lila's heart slammed against her ribcage, each thud echoing her raising fears. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." The moment dissolved, leaving Lila breathless. Jasper stepped closer, their bodies mere inches apart. "There's something I need to tell you," he whispered, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial murmur. Was it the confession of love? A sudden revelation? The air thickened with tension, the unspoken words hanging heavier than the looming chandelier. But before she could comprehend his intent, a loud crash echoed from the living room, sending shards of glass ricocheting off the airy walls. The moment burned, leaving a question that hung between them. Were their worlds about to collide in a way neither of them expected? A sense of dread filled her what lay ahead. As she turned toward the chaos, Lila realized that everything she thought she knew might just unravel, creating a tapestry mingled with love and danger. Would she step into the unknown, or flee back to the safety she had always known? Lila's instincts kicked in. Without thinking, she dashed out of the kitchen, her heart pounding in her ears. The crashing sound reverberated through the corridors, each echo a reminder that danger was threading its way into her life. Was someone breaking in? Or was something even more sinister at play? As she rounded the corner, the opulence of the living room stood in stark contrast to the scene unfolding within it. The once pristine furniture was now littered with shards of glass, and her gaze darted toward Jasper, who had already crossed the threshold. His expression shifted from concern to determination as he scanned the room with wild eyes. "Lila!" he shouted, making his way through the wreckage. "Stay back." She felt an icy clutch of fear in her stomach. What happened? Lila breathed, feeling small, like a moth under a bright light. Before he could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall and imposing, with menace written across his face. Lila's mouth went dry. It was Marcus, Jasper's estranged business partner, rumored to be involved in shady dealings, buzzing through corporate circles like a hornet. "Look who we have here," Marcus sneered, his grin stretched too wide for comfort. The maid in her element. How quaint. Get out. Jasper's voice thundered through the room, a fierce imperative. Anger flared in his dark eyes, and Lila felt the pulse of emotional electricity between them, stronger than fear. It was a reminder that the connection they just started to explore was being threatened. And if I don't? Marcus taunted, taking a step closer, dismissing Jasper's authority like it was an amusing joke. You think you can protect her, Jasper? You're nothing without me. The words sliced through the air, sharp and biting. Lila's breath quickened as dread swallowed her whole. She couldn't help but feel like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, teetering into the abyss below. Loosening her grip on the countertops, she took in the devastation around her. Leave her out of this, Jasper growled, stepping forward, putting himself directly between Lila and Marcus. Something about the protectiveness of his stance ignited warmth in her chest, even amid the chaos. Out of what? Marcus laughed coldly, the sound ricocheting off the marble. The mess you've made. You've covered up more than this little relationship of yours. And I can expose you. You both don't even know the truth. Truth? Those words sparked a torrent of questions in Lila's mind. What truth? What was it that Marcus knew that had Jasper almost vibrating with tension? Her thoughts raced, trying to connect the pieces of this perilous puzzle. With a flick of his wrist, Marcus gestured toward the nearest window. You think living in this gilded cage will save you? You don't know what's coming. You're both in way over your heads. Lila felt her stomach drop as uncertainty twisted like a knife inside her. Everything she cherished and dreamed about was up in flames. Just as she thought the worst was over, a flash of movement caught her eye. A figure was slipping through the door behind Marcus. Another player? She tore her eyes away just in time to catch Jasper's grim look as he prepared to face whatever was next, but Lila was frozen, torn between fear and the urge to find safety. How much did she actually know about the man whose eyes softened when they met hers? Jasper! She cried, helpless as darkness loomed closer to her. In that paralyzing moment, would she stand firm beside him, or would she run? She needed to know what Marcus was hiding. Lila could feel her heart aching for answers, for clarity. Suddenly, the lights flickered ominously overhead, the mansion temporarily plunging into darkness. A sharp scream erupted from somewhere deeper in the house. Who was screaming? What now? Stay close to me, Jasper ordered, his voice low, steady, and fierce. But would that be enough to confront the twilight creeping into their lives, or would every cherished moment be consumed by the shadows? A crackle of thunder rumbled in the distance, merging with the tension in the air. Would they survive the raging storm ahead, or was this only the beginning of a dark reckoning? The world around Lila transformed in an instant. The darkness enveloped her like a thick fog, and every muscle in her body tensed. She strained to hear the commotion that followed the scream, every heartbeat drumming in her ears. The chaos held them captive, the past and future colliding in this suffocating moment. Lila! Jasper called, grounding her amidst the confusion. She could feel his warmth radiating toward her, but the shadows pressed in from all sides, threatening to swallow them whole. Marcus stepped closer, his laughter echoing in the dark. You think this is over? The fun's just getting started, he jeered, his voice dripping with malice. He seemed to revel in their fear, feeding off the tension in the air. Suddenly, another scream erupted, sharper and more frantic. It came from the direction of the hallway, a wail that cut through the storm with clear urgency. Lila's heart raced, a surge of instinct pushing her back toward the sound. We have to help. No. Jasper's grip tightened around her wrist, pulling her back. It's not safe. But something deep within her resisted his command. What if it's someone in trouble? We can't just leave. Lila's plea hung in the air, entwined with the growing chaos. Another flash of movement drew her gaze. A second figure collided with Marcus, and the brief glow of the lightning illuminated wild eyes and frantic movements. Get away from her! Shouted a familiar voice that struck Lila like lightning itself. It was Claire, Jasper's sister, her determination blazing even in the enveloping darkness. She launched toward Marcus with fearless fury, desperate to protect those she loved. In that fleeting moment of clarity, Lila understood they were caught in an escalating battle, a battle for their lives, their truths, and their futures. Marcus cursed, shoving Claire back effortlessly, his weight and size overpowering her. "You think you can stop me?" He spat, an unnerving grin crawling across his face, like a predator tasting blood in the air. Lila's breath caught. The storm was no longer outside, it had infiltrated their lives. She felt helpless, oscillating between courage and fear. But as her eyes darted around, seeking an escape, she saw a glimmer of resilience in Jasper. The way his jaw tightened, his stance unwavering, gave her hope. Suddenly, the lights flickered again before blazing back to life, illuminating the chaos. Glass shards glistened like trapped stars on the floor, and in the upheaval, Lila caught a glimpse of Jasper, his protective fury igniting her insides. "Lila, listen to me." Jasper's voice cut through the haze. "We need to get out. Now." Just as she considered his words, Marcus lunged, and a wild scuffle ensued. Claire's scream pierced the air again, and Lila's heart lurched. Circling back to the instinct that had drawn her to this fight, she found a new strength rising within her. "Let us go," she shouted, her voice louder than the panic that surrounded them. She pulled Jasper toward the exit, Claire right behind them. But as they turned to flee, something pulled Lila back, a sense of betrayal, a need for answers. "Wait!" she gasped. Jasper's resolve faltered, but Claire pressed on. "We can't stay here. We have to leave." The storm raged outside, wind howling like a beast eager for souls. The world felt alive, spinning on the edge of revelation and chaos. But Lila froze once more, her mind racing. The truth? What was it that Marcus knew? Instinct told her to run, yet a voice in her heart whispered to confront the unknown, to face the shadows that threatened everything she cared about. "Jasper, we can't just run. What if we find out what Marcus knows? What if it's the key to all of this?" He hesitated, wrestling with that flicker of desperation in her eyes, the urge to learn, to fight back. But danger shadowed them, ever encroaching. Marcus loomed in the doorway, and Lila could sense the coming storm, not just outside, but inside her as well. "Time's running out," Jasper warned, urgency creeping into his tone. "We have to decide." Lila took a breath, clenching her fists. The mansion felt alive, charged with possibilities and threats. As they stood poised between action and inaction, shadows danced at the edges, and Lila realized the cost of knowing the truth could be greater than they imagined. Would they unravel the mystery together, or would fear fracture them into pieces? "Let us go," she finally said, but uncertainty lingered, bold and uncompromising. The escape had begun, yet a powerful question lingered: would the truth salvage them, or shatter their world as they knew it? The moment Lila took a step back, everything felt suspended in time. The room pulsed with tension, the raw edge of fear slashing through her resolve. Around them, the storm seemed to echo their emotional turmoil, thunder rolling in the distance, threatening to drown out her thoughts. "Lila." Jasper's voice pulled her back slightly from the brink of that decision. His eyes shone with a fierce light, but doubt lurked in their depths. "You don't know what you're asking for. He's not just some guy playing games." Marcus stepped forward, his silhouette growing more defined as the lights flickered again. The manic glee on his face was chilling. "Games? Oh, sweet Lila, this is no game. This is your reality, the one you've created." His tone dripped with sarcasm as he savored the moment, eyes gleaming with something indefinable and sinister. Claire bumped into Lila's back, her breath quick and uneven. "We have to get out. Don't you see? He is a threat. Whatever he thinks he knows, it isn't worth risking our lives over." But Lila's heart beat erratically. Something in Marcus's words hung in the air like a half-formed shadow waiting to be revealed. What exactly did he mean? What do you know about me, Marcus? Lila challenged, her voice surprisingly steady, cutting through the murky atmosphere like a knife. The smile on Marcus's face widened, unraveling into something wicked. Oh, Lila. Let's just say you don't even know the first thing about yourself. He took another step closer, and the tension in the room crackled like static electricity. Stop it. Jasper shouted, lunging forward protectively. Don't you dare touch me, boy, Marcus snarled, the menace dropped into his voice like a stone. You really don't want to test me here. I already told you the fun is just getting started. With a deep breath, Lila's instincts kicked in. She looked deep into both her friends' eyes, searching for resolve. They had been inseparable, bound not just by friendship, but by shared experiences and sudden challenges. This was just another test of their loyalty and courage. Jasper's jaw was clenched tight, his hands balled into fists at his sides. We've had enough of your games, Marcus. We won't play along any longer. But don't you want to know? Marcus was practically pleading now, his voice low and slippery. All the secrets I know. About your past. About who you really are. He leaned closer, eyes glinting with dark promise. A cold shiver curled through Lila's spine. The words stirred something deep within her like the swirling edge of a dream half remembered. The truth? Her past seemed to flicker just out of reach, wavering like a mirage. You don't know anything about me. She shot back, unwilling to show her own vulnerability. Yet, every syllable was laced with unacknowledged fear. Maybe I know more than you think, he replied, and for a moment, a flicker of uncertainty crossed his face as if he considered the implications of revealing too much. Jasper's hand found Lila's, grounding her. We have to go, Lila. Whatever he's offering, it's a trap, and you know it. No. Lila exclaimed, yanking her hand from Jasper's grip, sudden fervor igniting within her. What if there is something I need to know? I can't just run away. Listen, this isn't a movie, Claire interjected, urgency spiking in her tone. We have to think clearly. We'll figure it out together afterward, but we have to get away from him. The thundering storm outside echoed their inner turmoil, this relentless push and pull between safety and the unknown. Lila's heart raced faster than she could breathe as she faced Marcus again, defiance burning brightly in her chest. I'm not afraid of you, she declared, steadying herself, despite the quiver in her voice. Marcus's face twisted in shock and maybe even respect, but then it morphed back into that mocking smile. Oh, but you should be. Just then, the lights flickered violently, plunging them back into darkness. Lila's pulse quickened, shadows danced around her, and chaos seemed to echo off every surface as the storm raged outside. We really need to go. Jasper yelled. Frustration tinging his voice as he grabbed her wrist, but Lila remained rooted, searching the darkness for clarity. If I leave now, what if I lose my chance to understand everything? The truth is haunting me, Jasper. Thunder rumbled louder, almost mocking her turmoil. In this monumental moment, Lila knew there was no turning back. It was live or die, fight or submit. Make your choice, Marcus hissed, the grin never fading from his lips. But know this, the truth you seek may come at a price too steep to pay. And just like that, the room trembled with a haunting question, one that would either lead them to freedom or plunge them into deeper chaos. What secrets lay waiting in the shadows? Would the truth free them, or would it chain them to a past they'd never understood? The silence swallowed the room like a dark fog, weighing heavily on Lila's shoulders. Marcus stood before her, a predator savoring its prey, his eyes almost glowing with malice. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows that twisted around them, and Lila felt as if the walls were closing in, suffocating her resolve. Lila, Jasper's voice broke through the thick air, raw tension coloring his words. We can't do this. We need to go. Now. She wrestled with the urge to flee. Was running truly an option? The storm raged outside, a furious reminder of how unpredictable everything had become. But at that moment it wasn't just about escape. The pieces of her past that Marcus toyed with tugged at her, whispering the promise of answers. "No!" Lila shouted, her voice echoing off the walls as it filled with fierce defiance. "If I run, I might never know. I need to confront this whatever it is." Marcus chuckled softly, a sound devoid of warmth. "Brave little Lila. But bravery and folly are often two sides of the same coin." He tilted his head, feigning thoughtfulness. "You could learn so much if you just listen. Yes, if we stay alive long enough." Claire's frightened whisper broke through, panic edging her voice. "Marcus has something planned, I can feel it. We can't let him control us." Suddenly, the lights surged back to life, throwing the living room into stark clarity. Shadows retreated, and Lila could see the determination etched on her friends' faces. They were scared, but she could feel their unwavering loyalty. Yet the voice in her head called louder, fueled by the burning need for truth. "Lila, please." Jasper's hand reached for her again, imploring. "This isn't about friendship, this is about survival. You don't get it." She cried out, anguish lining her words. Just then, she felt a prick of heat surge through her, igniting something buried within. "I've spent my whole life running from who I am. Maybe it's time I stop. Maybe it's time I learn the truth even if it cuts deep." A stillness fell over the room after her declaration. The storm outside seemed to hold its breath, and Marcus's expression shifted, curiosity bubbling to the surface beneath his grin. "Ah, the light finally dawns. But you're dancing on the edge of a blade, Lila. Once you step forward, there's no turning back. Tell me then. What do you know?" Her voice trembled slightly, but her heart pounded with urgency, hope mingling with trepidation. Marcus's smile grew wider, glimmering with sadistic delight. "Are you sure you want to know? The truth could be so devastating." "I don't care. I want to know," Lila insisted, firming her resolve. Her heart raced, each beat echoing like a drum in her ears. "Very well," he said, his tone dripping with glee. "But remember, once I show you the shadows of your past, you may never see the world in the same light again." With a flick of his wrist, the shadows that lingered in the corners of the room surged forward, swirling like a living tide, wrapping tightly around Lila. The air thickened, saturated with electric tension, and visions of her past began to flash before her eyes, moments she thought buried dreams and fears, faces twisted in elation or despair. A sudden scream broke through the vision, a sharp, agonizing cry that pierced the air like shattering glass. It came from Claire. "Lila! Get away from him!" Claire yelled, the panic in her voice palpable. And just like that, everything spun out of control. The room tilted, shadows elongated to strange shapes, and Lila felt herself teetering on the precipice of an abyss. What emerged from the darkness, the past blurring into an uncertain future. As all hell seemed ready to break loose, Lila knew the moment to confront her fate had arrived. Would she brave whatever lay ahead, or would the darkness swallow her whole? Lila felt the shadows wrap around her like cold tendrils, pulling her deeper into memories she thought she'd left behind. Her skin prickled, and her heart raced faster, caught in a grip of fear and curiosity. Flashes of images interrupted her thoughts, long-buried moments, laughter that twisted into cries, and faces she'd tried to forget. Marcus watched her intently, his grin wide, eyes sparkling with a cruel joy. "What do you see, Lila? Can you feel it? The truth sets you free, but it can also imprison you." Jasper's voice cut through the haze. "Lila, resist it. Don't let him take control of your mind." But Lila was lost in the whirlpool of her past, her senses drowning. She saw her childhood home, its walls painted in sunshine, a place filled with warmth. Then the moment shifted, darkening. Her father stood in the shadows, a drink cradled in his hand, eyes blazing with uncontainable rage. "Please," she murmured, the pain of those memories rushing back, threatening to suffocate her. Remember your fears, Lila, Marcus taunted, stepping closer, his voice smooth like silk yet laced with malice. You ran from him. You ran from them all. But I can show you who they truly are. Suddenly, her throat tightened as if an invisible hand gripped her. She fought to breathe, struggling against the onslaught of memories. She saw Claire as a child, sitting on the swing with her, laughter bubbling up, only for the scene to twist into a darker future where Claire sat alone, tears staining her cheeks. Stop it! Lila screamed, panic rising, desperation clawing at her mind. Stop trying to dig up the past. Why should I, when it's so entertaining? Marcus laughed, tilting his head. Tell me, Lila, which memory haunts you the most? Bridge of memories intersected, her mother's gentle hands fading into a ghostly presence, words of love distorting into screams, shadowed faces that whispered truths Lila wasn't ready to hear. Lila closed her eyes tight, envisioning her friends, the love they shared, fighting against the burgeoning darkness that threatened to steal them away. She felt Claire's warmth reach for her, a tether in the chaos. Lila, we're here. Don't lose yourself. Claire's voice was a lifeline, pulling her from the depths of despair. With a sharp inhale, Lila snapped her eyes open. I want to let you take me. I choose to fight. I choose the light. The shadows hissed in outrage, twisting violently around her. As Lila grounded herself, her defiance ignited a spark within her. A light surged from her center, breaking free from Marcus's grip. She didn't know where it came from, but the warmth flooded her veins, illuminating the darkness. Marcus recoiled, surprise flashing across his features, a darkness retreating from her light. Impossible, he hissed, more a creature of shadow than a man. Get away from her. Jasper shouted, stepping forward, fists clenched, ready to protect Lila. Fools, this is just the beginning, Marcus snarled, his features twisting as the shadows swirled in protest, the tension shifting like an earthquake. I'm not afraid of you. Lila declared, stepping into the brilliance of her own light, feeling the presence of her friends behind her, their strength flickering with hers. Marcus's expression turned into something dangerous and furious. You think you're ready? You have no idea what you're up against. Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed through the room. The front door blasted open, swirling gusts of wind rushing inside, accompanied by the thunderous sound of pouring rain. What now? Claire gasped, eyes darting toward the doorway. They're here, Marcus sneered, retreating into the shadows. Let us see if your light can withstand the storm. The air shifted, thickening with an ominous charge that left Lila trembling. What had Marcus unleashed? Would their newfound light stand against the chaos closing in around them? The sound of footsteps echoed, sinister and heavy, creeping closer to the threshold. Lila's heart raced as she turned to her friends, ready to confront whatever horror lay beyond. With the shadows threatening to take her again, would they emerge as allies or enemies? The door swung open wider, revealing a dark figure silhouetted against the ferocious storm. Lila squinted through the torrential rain, her heart hammering against her ribs. Another shadow? Or had something more sinister come to claim them? What do we do? Claire whispered, her voice trembling slightly. The warmth of her earlier confidence flickered, replaced by a chill that seeped deeper than the elements outside. Lila clenched her fists, the glow within her pulsating like a heartbeat. She had felt that power before, a light strong enough to ward off darkness. We don't back down, she declared. We stand together. Jasper nodded vigorously, his face a mix of determination and fear. Let us drive whatever that is out. Together. As the figure took a step forward, soaked and shadowed, Lila squinted harder. A glimmer caught her eye, a flash of silver amidst the stormy gloom. It wasn't just a ghost of her past, it was a person. The air crackled with energy, leaves swirling, as if they recognized an impending clash. Who are you? Lila called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. She could see flashes of movement behind the figure, others were creeping along the edges of the doorway, sinister shapes blending with the rain. A low, guttural voice answered, crawling beneath her skin. We are the reckoning. We've come for the light you stole. The figure stepped into the room, revealing a woman, a towering presence, drenched but undeterred. Her eyes burned like coals against soot-black skin, filled with an intensity that made Lila's breath hitch. Around her neck hung a necklace with an ominous dark crystal that pulsed in rhythm with Lila's light. Join us or face the fury of the shadows, the woman warned, taking another menacing step forward. Behind her, the shapes began to materialize, dark and twisted silhouettes hungrily reaching for something they believed belonged to them. Lila felt the collective anxiety of her friends, but she stood firm. You won't take anything from us. We fought to get here. The strangers laughed, a cacophony of sound that sent chills racing down Lila's spine. Fighting is futile, the woman continued, but Lila spotted fear flickering in her gaze. You think your light can compete against this darkness? You're just another candle in a storm. Maybe so, Lila shot back, shoulders squared, but I'll burn bright before I go out. The intensity of the moment surged, shadows circling like a hungry wolf pack, as the tension rose to a climax. Lila could feel her friends beside her, their warmth a shield against the encroaching dread. Lila! Claire shouted suddenly, her eyes widening. Behind you! Lila spun around, gasping as dark tendrils shot towards her, coiling around her wrists and legs like shackles. Panic surged through her. No! Let me go! A startling voice rang out amid the chaos. Release her! The ground trembled, and a figure emerged from the shadows. A tall man, cloaked, but his features were sharp and familiar. Lila felt her heart leap at the sight. It was someone she thought was lost to the shadows. Marcus? She breathed, hope intertwining with fear. The woman turned to face him, her expression darkening. You dare intrude, Valen? After what you have done? Valen's presence lit the room, fire in his eyes as he stepped forward, confident and fierce. I am here to save her. Lila's breath hitched, caught between relief and looming dread. Was he a friend now, or had he come to claim her light as well? The tension smothered them all, and the storm outside howled in agreement. A whisper of hope lingered in the air, but dread still coiled around her heart. What choice would she have to make? And would it seal her fate? As Marcus and Valen squared off, their powers crackling, Lila felt the darkness shift again. What would emerge from this battle? The storm raged on, but the real storm had just begun. The shadows surged forward, tendrils of darkness snaking around Lila like a noose, tightening and suffocating. She gasped, panic clawing at her throat. Marcus! Help! Valen's fiery presence burned bright, illuminating the shadows that had gathered in the room, but the darkness hissed, recoiling while also pushing forward. The woman, the leader of the dark figures, stood her ground, her crystal glowing in sync with the pulse of fear in Lila's chest. You will regret this, Valen. The circle has been twisted against you. You cannot save her. Marcus's jaw clenched, and Lila caught a flicker of hesitation behind his fierce gaze. You don't understand, they won't hesitate to use you against yourself, he shouted, anger crackling in the air like static. He reached toward Lila, but the dark mass constricted tighter, blurring his outline, making him appear less solid, almost ghost-like. Fight back! Claire screamed, her voice a shrill note that rang through the chaos. Use your light, Lila. Lila inhaled sharply, forcing herself to focus on the glowing energy thrumming in her core. She drew on its warmth, feeling it expand, electrifying her limbs with a fierce intensity. I want to let them take me. She strained against the dark binding, pouring every ounce of her will into the light inside her. The shadows thrashed violently in response, their cries a chilling mix of fury and desperation. You are mere light, and light can only hide, it cannot fight. Ignoring the darkness's taunts, Lila poured her essence into a brilliant orb of luminescence. The light burst forth, illuminating the room, clashing against the shadows with a blinding brilliance. This is our home. You cannot have it. The clash was deafening, reverberating through the space like a storm unleashed. Lila felt herself ignited, empowered by the combined energy of her friend's determination. The shadows shrieked as the light engulfed them, their forms dissolving like salt in water, their strength waning against her brilliance, but the woman stood firm, her eyes narrowed in frustration as she glared at Valen. "You may have her for now, Valen, but this isn't over. The shadows will rise again. This isn't your world to protect." With a wave of her hand, Lila felt the darkness retreat, slipping away into the corners of the room, leaving the air thick with tension and uncertainty. The storm outside raged louder, as if fueling the last remnants of dread lingering in the main chamber. Valen slowly turned to Lila, offering a hand, the glow around him diminishing from fiery brilliance to a gentle light. "Are you okay?" His eyes scanned her, searching for wounds that could not be seen. Lila hesitated, her heart pounding, battling between gratitude and skepticism. You came back for me." "Always," he said, his voice steady but laced with undercurrents of something deep and unresolved. "But there's more at play here, Lila. They won't stop. You need to know who you really are." In the intensity of that moment, Claire and Jasper surged forward, wrapping their arms around Lila. She could feel their hearts racing, echoing her own. "What do you mean?" Lila demanded, eyes darting between Marcus's fierce determination and Valen's soft urgency, but before the words could come, a jolt of energy rippled through Lila, the sensation swirling inward, unraveling truth. "What am I?" she murmured, fear creeping in once more as the walls began to close around her again, shadows lingering at the threshold. Valen stepped closer to her, urgency seeping into his demeanor. "You need to know before they come back." Just then, the air thickened, the neon lights flickering, shadows sprouting anew at the edges of the room, hinting at the darkness still lurking beyond their fleeting victory. Heavy with foreboding, Lila felt her world shift again. What secrets lay buried in the depths of her past, and what horrors awaited them all just beyond the storm? The shadows lunged again, intertwining like serpents poised to strike. Lila's breath quickened, panic gripping her throat like a vice. "It's not over." The leader hissed, the air crackling with her dark energy. "You've only postponed the inevitable." Valen tightened his grip on Lila's hand, the warmth of his touch a stark contrast to the chill creeping through her veins. "We need to get out. Now." His voice was urgent, and she could sense the raw fear beneath his bravado. Claire and Jasper moved in closely, forming a protective barrier around Lila. "We can't let them take you again," Claire shouted, her eyes darting from one corner of the room to the other, scanning for any re-emerging threat. And then, everything shifted. The shadows darkened, swirling faster, engulfing the room's light. Lila's heart raced, a sense of dread more suffocating than before. "What are they doing?" she gasped, the air thick with unyielding tension. "Form a circle," Marcus commanded, and everyone instinctively obeyed. They clasped hands, each gripping tightly as if their bond could fend off the growing darkness. Lila focused on the light within her, willing it to surge forth again, the last beacon against the encroaching terror. The air vibrated, an electric buzz that set her nerves alight, and just as she called forth her strength, a deafening roar swept through the room. The shadows splintered momentarily, as if caught off guard by their unity. "Keep it steady," Valen urged. But the woman, her figure now more defined in the dim light, laughed lowly, her face twisted with malevolence. "You think this bond can save you? I'll show you the truth of what you face." With a flick of her wrist, tendrils of darkness shot out, latching onto each of Lila's friends with chilling precision. Screams echoed as they struggled against the suffocating hold. Marcus was the first to falter, his eyes widening in disbelief as he became a mere shadow of himself, flickering like a dying candle. "Marcus!" Lila screamed, anguish tearing through her. "Don't let go!" he gasped, his grip becoming weaker. "You have to believe in the light." Lila's chest tightened. This was beyond anything she had faced. She wasn't filled with just fear, despair clawed at her heart. What if they lost? Focus on me. Valen shouted, pulling her gaze back to him. Remember who you are. They feed on your doubt. You are stronger than this. She nodded, her resolve hardening. Igniting the energy deep within her, Lila envisioned a radiant explosion lighting their darkened world. You are not my end. She roared, pulling every ounce of energy to the surface and directing it toward her friends. A beam of light shot forth, illuminating the room and breaking through the shadows. The darkness hissed, pulling away in a violent reaction, but the woman's figure remained unaffected, her eyes glinting with malicious mirth. You think this power makes you invincible? You know nothing of what I can unleash. Lila's heart sank. The shadows had returned, licking at their feet like hungry flames. They weren't just fighting for their survival, they were teetering on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. Suddenly, a blinding flash enveloped everything. Lila felt herself being pulled through time and space, memories flickering like images in an old film. Flashes of laughter, warmth, and pain. Her breath hitched as she grasped a glimpse of a past woven with darkness and light. Something clicked within her, a fragment of an identity long lost. As the light ebbed, she gasped and stumbled back, disoriented yet fueled with a fierce new determination. I know who I am. She cried, surprising herself, and then, the shadows began to pulse rhythmically around them, strangely responding to her revelation. The woman looked enraged, her crystal dimming against Lila's newfound glow. What have you awakened? Lila faced her, once frightened but now resolute. The truth. But as the shadows danced ominously, a new horror loomed in the atmosphere, a sound, a distant rumbling echoing from beyond the walls. What had she truly unleashed? As Lila contemplated the depth of her awakening, another question formed: were the shadows merely reflections of her past, or did they harbor something far worse? Lila stood firm, her light blazing against the encroaching shadows, but even as the brilliance surged, doubts clawed at her heart. The storm outside intensified, thunder rumbling through the air, echoing the chaos within. What have you awakened? The woman hissed, disbelief weaving into her fury. Lila's breath hitched. I don't know yet, but I refuse to be afraid anymore. The woman stepped forward, unfazed by Lila's defiance. Light is a fleeting thing. It cannot withstand the shadows forever. You'll see. As darkness twisted around her, Lila tightened her grip on Jasper and Claire's hands. The warmth from their bonds coursed through her like a lifeline. They pushed against the tendrils threatening to pull them apart. Valen's presence flared beside her, grounding her spirit amidst the chaos. If we're going to fight, we need to trust in our connection, he said, his voice steady yet soft, evoking courage. Lila nodded, recalling the memories that shaped her, the laughter, the love, the pain woven into her identity. Together, then. We face whatever comes. The shadows twitched, sensing the newfound purpose within them. Remember, they feed on doubt, Marcus warned, struggling against the remaining coils of darkness. Your strength is your unity. With a fierce determination, Lila drawn on the power pulsing within. Together. She shouted, as the light erupted from their joined hands like a supernova. The glow swelled and filled the entire room, radiating hope and defiance. The darkness swelled in response, but Lila wouldn't falter. You won't take my light. She declared. The shadows writhed and hissed, trying to quench her fiery spirit. Fools! This isn't over. The woman screamed, her face contorting with rage, but Lila pressed on, letting her energy soar into a blinding beam that enveloped them all. As the light pierced the murky void, the woman converged with the shadows, her image blurring before them. You'll regret this choice, she hissed before collapsing beneath the blaze, shadows dissipating like fog before the dawn. Lila faltered, heart racing, waiting for a reprisal. Is it over? Did we win? The light dimmed, and silence enveloped them. Jasper released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. I think we did it. We defeated her. Not just her. We won against our fears, Claire breathed, glancing around the room that appeared untouched by the turmoil, yet still held a residue of the remnants. But we need to heal the brokenness left behind. Valen stepped forward, his eyes shimmering. There is still darkness in the world, Lila. It constantly lurks around the edges. But you, all of you, are the candle that can keep it at bay. Together, you have a light that can illuminate even the darkest corners. Lila felt it then, a warmth blossoming in her chest, a flicker of hope. We can bring light to others. Yes. Claire cried, her voice bright with excitement. This is our chance to be more than we were. To help others escape their own darkness. Suddenly, a lingering question flared back in Lila's mind, but what about Marcus? He was different. He fought alongside us. Marcus, shaken but alive, stepped towards her. I believed in you, Lila. You ignited a spark I thought extinguished. But the shadows I carry, they're a part of me. I know the path will be difficult. What will you do now? Lila asked softly, their pasts intertwined yet diverging in the wake of this fight. I have my own demons to face, but perhaps it's time I let the light guide me out of the darkness. I'll find my own way, just as you have, he said, a new determination solidifying his words. For a moment, an understanding passed between them, an acknowledgement of past pain that would now serve to mold their futures. Lila's gaze shifted towards the doorway, the storm still raging outside, fading in its ferocity. They would face it together, embracing whatever storms lay ahead. But jubilant laughter drew their attention. Claire was spinning with glee, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. Look at us. We're free. The weight of their connection embraced them, lifting the burden of the shadows. Lila stepped forward, taking a deep breath, heart swelling with newfound purpose and love. Together, we shine brighter than any darkness. As they walked through the door, hand in hand, the storm finally began to diminish. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting rays of light on the path ahead. Hope washed over her, revitalizing the strength they forged through chaos. Their story wasn't ending, it was just beginning. Remember, Lila said, glancing back at Marcus with empathy in her eyes. Every shadow is made by light. We will carry that light for you. With a final nod, they stepped into the future, the storm behind them now only a whisper, illuminated by their strength, love, and commitment to a life of endless possibilities. Now is your moment, too. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss out on the next chapter of this thrilling saga. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now if you're as excited about these characters as I am, and flood the comments section with your theories and reactions. What do you think Lila's journey will look like going forward? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us build this community together.